So today we're going to focus on grief and the way that the body processes grief, and we're going to look into the body and find places where there might be some old grief that's ready to be processed and released. And the reason that I'm working on this particular emotion right now is that fall is the natural season of grief. So if you look at traditional Chinese medicine, there's 5 major elements, and each element corresponds with a time of year. So fall is the time of the metal element, and it's associated with grief and with the lungs and the large intestine. So if you look at the lungs metaphorically, what they do for us is they help us breathe in and accept what's new and breathe out to release what's old. And the large intestine actually does the same thing. So we're accepting the new and releasing the old. And that's actually what grief does for us. Grief can be an uncomfortable and difficult emotion to sit with, and some of us have the tendency to kind of stuff it back down when it comes up. And although that is an understandable impulse, when we don't allow grief to flow through us, to allow us to appreciate what we've lost and what's changed and what's gone, not only are we stuck in the past, but the emotion itself is stuck in the body, and that can cause a lot of trouble for our health, especially for the lungs and the large intestine, but also just for overall health. So what we're going to do today is a little bit of body talk to help any old grief that's ready to go ahead and be processed out of the body. So what I'm going to have you do is start to take a few deep breaths. Just really sink down into the body. Notice how you're feeling today. And then I'm going to have you focus specifically on grief. Looking in the body, starting to feel grief. Remember how grief feels for you. And then start to see if there's any particular part of the body that's holding that emotion. So we're looking with our inner eye for where grief is stored. And if you're not seeing anything, that's totally fine. I'll just lead you through the technique and we'll just gather it from everywhere. And if you do find one particular place or a few particular places, I'm going to have you start to breathe deeply into those places. Just kind of make that grief more palpable, more vibrant. And it may have a color or a texture. Just kind of intensify whatever you're seeing or feeling. And then I'm going to have you start to collect it. So if you don't have a particular place, you can just start on the limbs, do the arms and then the legs, the front of the body and the back of the body. And if you do have a particular place, you can start there. Just start to ball up that feeling or that color. And bring it down to the diaphragm, which helps us process our lives and our emotions. And as we're doing that, we're just going to breathe deeply and tap on the head and heart. So again, if you didn't have a particular place, you can just kind of do the whole body. Just kind of gathering up anything that feels like grief. And if you don't really feel complete with this part of it yet, you could pause the video for a moment and just make sure you get all the spots that you want to focus on. And next we're going to move into focusing on the lungs. And we're going to take some deep breaths holding the lungs. And on exhale, we're going to think, release. So let's do 2 more deep breaths like that. Breathing in. And breathing out and release. And if you notice that that has started to stir up any emotions for you, I invite you just to sit with them. I know it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but if anything's getting stirred up right now, that means it's ready to go, that it's ready to be released and processed. So just kind of breathe deeply, breathe with it, sit with it. And if you feel like you need any support with this sort of work, body talk sessions can be a really powerful tool for helping with these emotional shifts and releases and transitions. So you can check that out at the Work With Me section at amberlyrose.com. And other than that, I hope you're having a lovely fall, and I'll see you next time.